Hi, welcome back, guys and gals, to another movie review with yours truly, Corey. Today's movie review is Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. This is the true story of Mr. Rogers' life. Unfortunately, this movie really doesn't talk about Mr. Rogers' life. But let's jump into this review. So, first off, we all grew up with Mr. Rogers, my generation and my parents' generation. And throughout his PBS broadcast channel, he talked about a lot of big topics for children and grown adults and teenagers to understand and to cope with. Talking about friendships, death, divorce, love, everything. Mr. Rogers was a well-renowned child psychologist, and he had a way of helping other people cope with dealing with situations of living life. So, this movie was inspired by Mr. Rogers' life, and the story depicts a magazine editor or magazine writer who has the opportunity and the chance to interview and talk with Mr. Rogers and get to know him as a biopic for the next edition of the article of the magazine. And during this time, he finds out that, we all may be suffering from our own internal demons, but there's a way to cope and there's a way to come to grips and come to understanding and find a way to manage different scenarios and outcomes with said demons and feelings and emotions. So the magazine editor has to open up his own demons, of his dad, abandoning him and his sister during a time when his wife was really sick, and the resentment of a love-hate relationship between him and his dad had a falling out, and it took, time for him to clarify and understand and rationalize it with the help of Mr. Rogers, slowly showing him, what he did and talking with him and getting to know, it's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to, feel all these emotions inside, but it's unhealthy if you don't fix it. So, it's a well-made movie. It's about an hour 45-minute long movie. The cool thing about this movie is that it sort of plays off of like an episode of Mr. Rogers. If anyone can recall watching the episode, it does the original studio's design of puppetry and stock animation of models. But it jumps you right into like watching an episode of Mr. Rogers, where Mr. Rogers says good morning, and sings his neighborly song of the day, and then talks about a topic of the day, and the topic is about this magazine writer, and from there it just goes on to a story between him and all that's going around in his world, and then it comes down to an end where it wraps it up like every episode of Mr. Rogers, and yeah, it's actually a pretty unique way how they filmed it, and how they went about moving on with the storyline, incorporating Mr. Rogers TV show, and then also dealing with a regular story within said field. It's a really good movie to check out. Note to self, this is not really a biopic based on Mr. Rogers' life, which a lot of people during reviews and all that before this came out were really hoping to see. But it's more of just a story, what Mr. Rogers would tell on his TV show. And so that's what the story is about. But it's really good. The acting was phenomenal. Tom Hanks portrayed Mr. Rogers to a T, and he did a really phenomenal job. So, yeah, the music is very beautiful, and scored throughout the movie, with violins, piano, and the same old melody of the Mr. Rogers neighborhood sound that usually happens throughout throughout the series of his TV show. And so it does play that. Cutscenes, the transition scenes are pretty cool. It's sort of like the models of the neighborhood. How you see this little model plane flying and then landing, and then model set design. So the transition scenes throughout the movie really had to do with what Mr. Rogers did with set design on this show. So it was pretty cool. I would recommend this to a lot. What I rate this? I would rate this a 7 out of 10. So it's pretty good. But as always, this is just my opinion. This is just what I reviewed. But I'll let that be the deciding factor to all you guys and gals out there interested in watching a movie during your time of quarantine or boredom. Please check out It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. So as always, thank you for stopping in and watching another episode of Corey's Movie Reviews. It's yours truly, Corey. Hi. And today, thank you for being my neighbor. See you in the next one. Bye.